In this video guide, we'll cover the basics of Uncharted Worlds' combat system. Combat in Uncharted Worlds comes in two forms. Launch Assault involves visceral close combat engagement in tight quarters. The violence is up close and personal. Launch Assault uses the physique stat. Open Fire involves long-distance firefights. Characters dodge from cover to cover, lay down suppressing fire, flank, and take out enemies at range. Open Fire uses the metal stat. These combat moves are meant to simulate an extended exchange of violence. The character is taking on a handful of enemies, or possibly a foe that's very difficult to kill. If the conflict could be resolved by a single shot, the GM will usually call for a simple face adversity instead. In a combat engagement, the character doesn't roll for every shot taken or every dodge. Instead, the dice predicts the end result of this engagement, but leaves the middle open to a conversation. It's the role of the GM and the characters involved to steer the engagement to the conclusion through a rapid-fire back-and-forth description. For example, Aya is surrounded by Hive City gangers. They're angry that she dared enter their territory. She doesn't want to get into any more trouble with the local authorities, so she opts to keep her plasma pistol holstered. A thug takes a swing at her with a lead pipe. She immediately reacts. She grabs his arm and flips him into the other onrushing thugs. This triggers a launch assault. The roll is 11, and now Aya controls the combat. She doesn't want to kill them, she just wants to bloody their noses and send them running. Since she rolled an 11, that's exactly what will happen. After a few exchanges, a 10+ launch assault or open fire means that the character is in control. The GM refreshes the scene with the immediate result. The thug you grabbed is flung back at the approaching gang. A couple of them scramble out of the way. One gets toppled by his airborne friend. They both go down in a tangle of limbs. The GM then sets up an opportunity for Aya. The brute with brass knuckles who dodged left is now coming in with a wild punch. The one who dodged right is lashing out with her length of chain. Aya, what do you do? Here Aya has free reign of how she handles the situation. Whatever she describes will be true. She says, I dodge the brute's punch, kick him in the back of the knee as he stumbles past, catch the chain on the backswing, wrap it the end around my hand, and pull. When the thug comes stumbling forward, I headbutt her in the face. No new moves are triggered here. This is Aya's launch assault playing out. If they felt like it, the GM could keep this going a bit, let Aya beat the crap out of them some more, but the GM figures that the thugs have learned their lesson, so the GM updates the scene. A bloody crunch as the thug's nose breaks. She staggers back, groaning. The Hive City gangers crawl and limp away. They mutter and groan, but they avoid eye contact. Aya, you've got a length of chain wrapped around your wrist, blood on your forehead, and the path is clear through the gang's territory. What do you do? On a 7 to 9, the character still controls the engagement, but the GM has the ability to add costs, change the battlefield, or introduce new complications. The GM can choose one or more of the following, and weave them into the conversation. The character suffers harm during this exchange. The exchange causes undesirable collateral damage. The battle shifts, changing threats or adding new ones. The target actually suffered a lesser fate, and the GM chooses what. Or any combination of those. The number and type of consequences that the GM chooses will depend greatly on the situation. How hard is the fight? How dangerous are the enemies? Does the character have an advantage, or are they at a disadvantage? Is there any obvious potential repercussions, especially ones that have already been established by the narrative? For example, Merrick gets the drop on a group of guards. The guards had taken up position at a blast door, but he came in from a side hallway. He describes how he moves swiftly, flanking them, shotgun blazing. He triggers an open fire and rolls an 8. Even though this engagement is a partial success, by sneaking in and flanking the guards, Merrick has created an advantageous situation for himself. His explosive shotgun blasts the closest guards apart. In response, the GM chooses to cause undesirable collateral damage. The remaining guards swing around and fire wildly. Their laser beams slice through the light fixtures and wall panels, bursting a chemical pipe. The hall is plunged into darkness, spattered with noxious chemicals, lit only by laser fire. Merrick ducks and rolls out of cover, unloading more explosive shells. The GM decides that only the guard captain will survive this encounter. Merrick wants them all dead, but the GM decides that that target will suffer a lesser fate. So they tell Merrick, your last shot went wide. What limb does the guard captain lose to your explosive shotgun shell? With that, the guard captain is blown back. She tumbles, scrambles, and then crawls down a flight of stairs. She's bleeding, missing a limb, and her squad is dead. The engagement ends with Merrick victorious, but the injured guard captain is a loose end that he might want to deal with. And the ruptured chemical pipe might soon cause an issue as well. In an alternate timeline, if Merrick had decided to tackle the problem head-on, opening fire on the other side of the door, the guards would then have a tactical advantage. The GM would introduce different, probably harsher consequences. Merrick might have been hurt, he might have run out of ammo or jammed his shotgun, a second squad might have showed up to flank him, or All of those. Of course, like any move, a 6- means that the GM gets to call the shots. At best, the character will be given the opportunity to cause collateral damage, maybe thin out a few enemies, retreating, getting captured or arrested, suffering serious harm, and a whole new set of problems to overcome. To make larger, more challenging engagements, the GM splits enemies into multiple groups. Each of those groups creates a separate problem with its own end state. It's up to the character to decide which group they wish to engage, which group they wish to stop. The group that isn't engaged gets to act unopposed. A trio of enemy enforcers has taken cover, firing short bursts of suppressive fire. The other squad is further back, calling for reinforcements. This is a difficult situation for the character. If they choose to attack the enforcers, the ones calling for reinforcements will succeed and summon allies. If the character chooses to attack the ones calling for reinforcements, they will be harmed by the suppressing fire. The character will have to be creative or call in friends of their own to even the odds. As always, hope you find this guide useful. Feel free to check out the previous guides on how to play and character creation. Thanks for watching.